I know this is significant about the number 9, and one thing I realize is that sports is really controlled by a lot of Masonic groups, and specifically baseball. When you're dealing with 9 players, 9 innings, complete a 9-inning game, and deals with the 9-inning period, is that really symbolic to a lot of things that goes on in terms of sports playing somebody's physical makeup in their head?
Dr. Frances Wellstein, a female who's very prominent with ISIS. She mentions how sports are symbolic of, of different cultures that we pass through, and inferiority and superiority complexes, and conflicts with the racism stuff. But Freemasons had nothing to do with baseball. Baseball predates Freemasons. It goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. Bowling is an Egyptian sport, soccer is an Egyptian sport, basketball is an Egyptian sport, chess started in Turkey, most of the active sports were done in Egypt. The Hittites played these sports. In fact, they used to play, like the Hittites used to play against the Egyptians. They used to have actual tournaments, they had leagues, little leagues, all the stuff that we do today. So, there may be symbolic meaning in the numbers because math is real, but I don't know of any Masonic lodges existing that far back. They don't even go back past the 15th century. And baseball predated it. The other brother's question too, about the balls of, meteorites coming here in May. We know everybody's talking about that. Those meteorites seem to be kind of strange to have happened right after they talked about this large UFO discovery, and then right after they talked about this, and I shouldn't say large UFO discovery, a large amount of UFO appearances on Gulf Breeze that they seem to have suppressed because they want to make him look crazy. Now, what was his name again? Who at the Gulf Breeze thing? Walter, wasn't it Walter? Something Walter, not Travis Walters. He's a contractor, and he's the one that took the pictures of the shams off of Gulf Breeze. What is it? No, not Eric. Not that Myers is in Switzerland, and at least Down is in Florida. It's Walters, but it's the first thing I can't seem to get. Well, we know you got an idea what we're talking about. Let's keep it moving, right? Well, anyway, because there's been a lot of sightings to date over Gulf Breeze, and Gulf Breeze, as you know, in Florida, has a lot of military bases there, so they're trying to take the attention off that and push it back to Roswell, where they have already supposedly refuted, the government has already proven that didn't exist, and they were sending dummies down, etc. And they're trying to take the attention because there's been a lot of UFO sightings, followed by the scientists revealing that there may have been life discovered on Mars by minute bacteria that they found on the Mars rock. So the government is in a very touchy situation with NASA, and we know the fears, of course, us questioning the stability of the government we live in and losing faith in a government that we must trust in order to survive. So we do hear rumors that meteorites are coming, and then Art Bell is saying that those meteorites are coming from the craft that was near Hellbach. And that's what he said in his radio station. And that kind of reaches across from here to California. Next, everybody's talking about an opinion as if it's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Now the rumor is that the planet will be caught on fire in May. Or that's the shower, or the large meteorite that's coming in November. Either or the others will hit us, and the United States government and Russia and all them are involved in this project of detouring it away from Earth. And that the same balls you're talking about are supposed to be the weapons used by these extraterrestrials that they've now confirmed are no longer agreeable. That was the Belgian contact. I know about the Belgian, the triangular-shaped crafts. They've come to the conclusion that the occupants of those crafts are not pro-Earth, but rather planning on being destructive, and that those are the doomsday gods. As they're talking about in ancient Samaria, the ancient Celtics talk about them, the ancient Hopi talk about the doomsday gods who are bringing the thunders of destruction to the earth. And they're saying that those same balls are not will be used as weapons, but the kind of weapons. Those were from the previous attack to Earth. They destroyed the dinosaurs, and they say it was a meteorite. It was actually an attack, they say. And so they're not saying those balls will be lifted up so much as those kind of balls are the ones that will be launched at Earth again. And it won't be all over the planet. It will just be a designated place, they say. But it's kind of funny because meanwhile they're telling us about natural calamities. And you would think that the extraterrestrials who have been monitoring us for so long would also be able to see the tidal waves. And they'd also be able to see the hurricanes, and they'd also be able to see the weather, climatic change, and the global warming, and the insect population, and you would think they'd be wise enough after all these thousands of years to just say, hell, let's wait a couple more years. They're going to destroy themselves any damn way. Why throw rocks when we can sit there and let them... So, we're because of media and the way it manipulates our minds, we're in a very strange situation because they throw out so many things and so many kind of beliefs that, in other words, they're programming us to believe something. One of the doomsday principles, you got to accept one of them. Either you believe that Jesus is coming back and some 144,000 are going and the rest of y'all staying here to get burned up. That's one belief. Or you believe that Muhammad's Messiah is coming, he's going to let down a ladder and the righteous is going to climb up and all the rest of us going to get burned up. Or you believe in the Jubilee of the Jews in the year 2000, and they believe that their Savior, Hamashiach, is coming. Or you believe in the Buddhists, and they believe that the Maitreya is coming. Or, hell, everybody's trying to scare the hell out of us. That's what's coming down to. They make us lose faith in our government. Make us lose faith in religion. Make us lose faith in science. Basically, make us lose faith. I don't mean faith like blind faith. I mean, trust. And people now don't know what to do or where to turn. People are confused. Jehovah's Witnesses sound right. If you're really interested in a branch of Christianity that sounds very convincing, those Witnesses got their own Bible, their own translations, a series of books. They can sit down and sound very convincing. So is the Nation of Islam. If you're mad at all white people and you want an excuse to point the finger at somebody else, the Nation of Islam sounds right. If you really want to be Jewish but don't really want to be Jewish because you like the Isley brothers and you like the way they dress, then you can join the Hebrew Israelites over there in Atlanta and stand out in costumes and yell at people. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you want to be a Seventh, you want to be a Jew, but not quite a Jew, you join the Seventh-day Adventist. If you just like swimming, become a holy roller and get baptized. If you understand what they're doing? They're saturating the public with so much stuff until people are going to be totally confused, and we won't know how to recognize the truth no more. And the truth is said like, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Most people say set you free. That's how confused they got us. They didn't say it's gonna just because you know the truth, you're gonna be free. No, having the truth is what's gonna give you the ability to free yourself. Then you gotta say, from what? That's the question that they didn't say in the Bible. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Free from what? Or free from the devil. You can't ever be free from the devil. You know what I'm saying? Because the devil is now a product of your imagination. If he's no longer a figure or an object or a little red man with a pitchfork, or now the new space age where he becomes a reptilian, if he's no longer these things, he's still in the mind. So he's going to be there as something or somebody. And that's why your mother said, don't let the devil, your grandmother, that's the one that does all the cliche, don't let the devil get in you. Or Rick Wilson said the devil made me do it. So he's in, the devil is in like friend. If you remove the devil, guess what you remove? You remove God. Because God's sole purpose is what? To fight the devil. So instead of us, so listen, there's two approaches to solving the problem. One is to worship God, and the other is to eliminate, not worship the devil, to eliminate the devil. So if we cease talking about the devil, cease discussing the devil, take him out of our language totally, then he'll disappear. Or he will appear. You understand me? Because right now he's unapparent. But we can't cue in on exactly where the devil lives. We haven't found where Santa Claus lives yet. We just know that there's somewhere out there, where it's real cold, so he's not the brightest person in the world. You know what I'm saying? But we haven't found exactly a house or location or where does the devil live. You know what I'm saying? It's done, you know what I'm saying, brother? It's made to keep us confused. So we don't know what to do. So if I come along and say, listen, I'm fed up with your concept on Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. I'm just fed up. I'm just going to go back and become Egyptian. I'm a cult. If I said, and we believe that our ancestors are coming to get us, I'm a cult. Well, they believe in UFOs. First of all, listen to the illogic of the statement. They believe in UFOs. The first word in the statement contradicts the whole statement. UFO. They believe in unidentified flying objects. Now, how can you believe in something that has not been identified? You see, so you hear the illogic being perpetrated as logic in order to set a certain mindset in people. All them people out there, he says he's God in flesh. You go back to the Bible and says anybody who doesn't believe that Jesus came in flesh is an antichrist. And Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father but by me. We must be in his example. So if we must be an example and Jesus is God in flesh, then what are we? God in flesh. If we're less than that, then we're not in his example. You say it like that, oh, you're a fast talker one, you know. You're pretty good words. What should I go like this? Well, Jesus came now. Then you say, I like him. He preaches well. I catch some of the preachers on television and I say, well, I didn't want to say like Jesus. I said, no, I'm going to study. I'm going to master the language. I'm going to research. I'm going to go find out. And when I find out and I disagree, why must I be such a monster? Do I have a right to disagree? Do I have a right to listen to this. Do I have a right to be wrong? I have a right to be wrong. Hell, I have a right to make a mistake. So okay, suppose I'm wrong. Why must I be this monster instead of the guy that's wrong? And here's how you find out if the guy is wrong. You challenge him. You don't attack him. We don't attack Farrakhan for what he says. We challenge what he says to see if it's true or not. And I heard somebody earlier say, is there any proof that the Yaanuwn story really exists? And that's the question I asked them. Is there any proof that the tribe of Shabazz really exists? And they go right there. That's not really an answer. I just want to know. I don't want to go into all your doctrine and why you have a bow tie on and how articulate you are. All that I can see. I want to know about the root of it, the tribe of Shabazz. Is anywhere I can find that? Not that whether I find or not makes any difference now. Because I hear people say, well, I haven't found any proof of that. But then you got to start saying, who are you? Because that's what people do when they start writing articles. They start making statements like, well, from what I know. And you say, well, you know, what do you know? Well, I haven't, they say they believe in flying saucers. How many people here have seen a flying saucer with their own eyes? Okay? So, you no longer believe in flying saucers. You now know they exist. How many people have seen extraterrestrials in their lifetime? Or at least, I want to add think they did, because a lot of times we think we see stuff. Just the cold in the closet can scare the hell out of us. Or we have to be in a state of sleep paralysis and see all kinds of stuff. You know, they had an aunt that I thought was extraterrestrial. She was so ugly. You know, I knew she wasn't a relative. That was linked back to me. Okay. How many of us think we saw extraterrestrials? All right. Now, you realize that was, let's be fair, that's not half the population here, right? That means half of y'all are crazy. Jimmy Carter, the Georgian president, our own homeboy, he believes in UFOs and publicly announced that he saw a UFO. So did John Lennon. So did Jimi Hendrix. So did Muhammad Ali. So did, what's my favorite artist? David Bowie. So did David Bowie. What's so funny? Huh? David Bowie, I can't have a black artist with no black. David Bowie is my favorite artist. That bother you over there? What's huge? Should I say Snoop Dogg? I think Snoop Dogg is goddamn ridiculous. What, I'm Uncle Tom now? But I am, I'm El Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of people across the board, whether professors or professing, believe in UFOs. All of them are crazy. People all over the world, speaking different languages, I've said this many times, have described the same thing in their language, having no contact with other people. All of them are crazy.
The spacecraft beamed light into the desert, which formed a sort of pulsating golden half moon. From inside appeared a silhouette with arms outstretched. I understood they were telling me to approach them. Once I entered the light, I felt like my whole body was burning up. It was so intense, I had to close my eyes. But what I could see, what I could observe, was that this craft seemed to have entered the sea, and at some enormous depth there were huge ships. According to them, the motherships had landed at the bottom of the ocean.
A cigar-shaped object hovering in front of us. Inside were three figures.
Yes, they had like a cockpit. In the cabin was in the front of the cigar-shaped thing, and it was lit up, but not glowingly lit up. It was a very easy light to look at.
Near the airport, a retired police officer witnessed the unfolding drama.
Un color naranja tirando al color.
The UFO was a bright orangey color, and it had small flashing lights around the sides that sparkled like a welding torch.
Lucecitas verdes, muy potente, en los costados. Pero inmenso.
It was a huge light that glided off towards the lake.
On one occasion, we were carrying out nighttime target practice. We checked the performance of our instruments and tried to bring down the target plane. Suddenly, the screen on the display lights up, and we think it's the target plane that should be 2 kilometers away. As the sights are being aligned, the screen lights up again, but this time the object is huge and really bright, and it's moving straight towards us. It could not have been the target plane, and for a moment we were about to open fire. We were in a MiG-21, and the object was so close, collision looked unavoidable. But suddenly, the UFO tipped on its edge and in a flash moved off the screen. We had recorded the encounter on film, and I have these photographs. They are stunning, and I'll never forget the experience.
How about that Bible statement that says, many are called, but few are chosen? How about if for real the UFOs are the angelic or the heavenly hosts? They're the gods. Suppose that's true. And suppose they're only letting those people that's going with them know. And the reason why you haven't seen them is because you want them alligators that ain't going. And that's why you're spending time talking about people who have seen him the same way people talked about people who saw Christ before Christ got to Jerusalem. Never said, I seen him in the field. He was healing people and saving people and touching people. And what was the Pharisees and them saying? Must be some type of troublemaker. Because they said they walked up to Jesus, caught him amongst his people and said, who's greater? God or Caesar? And Jesus stopped and looked at him for a while. And basically, we can assume he said in his mind, you really think that's a good one, don't you? And he said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's. He was splitting the two worlds. He was making it very clear that those things that pertain to men, and those things that pertain to God pertain to God. Now, if these beings are coming from beyond the stars, far more intelligent than we are if they get in here, and we can't get out. You know what I'm saying? If they're doing things. So now let's find some other things that are here that have been done by man or not by man that we can't figure out. We couldn't figure out if flying saucers left all them burn marks all across the world. We can't figure out the technology under which they mutilate cows, goats, and other animals. We can't figure out how they travel intergalactically if they're from other solar systems further than the furthest star, which is light years away. It will take too long to get here, etc., etc., etc. All these intellectual, jobbers. We can't figure these things out. Is basically what we're saying, right? So now let's look at some things on the earth we can't figure out. We can't figure out how the pyramids were built. Maybe there's a contact. Maybe there's a connection. I'm sorry. Maybe there's a connection. The reason why we can't figure out why the pyramids are built, because the pyramids might have been built by the same people that are coming here and flying saucers, and they don't want us to know. Maybe that's why we can't figure it out. Not because somebody forgot it. Because all the niggas in the world stand up and say, we ancient Egyptians asked them, how are the pyramids built? I don't know. All you have to do is identify with the Stonehenge. Say, is it a clock? Is it a map? They go, I don't know. So maybe the people who built Stonehenge, the people who built the pyramids here, and the pyramids underwater in China, maybe the ones who put the lines in Nazca, maybe the ones who did all those things that we can't figure out because they say you can't see these geometric symbols or these patterns or hieroglyphs until you get thousands of feet, thousands of miles, not thousands of miles, hundreds of miles in the sky. You have to look down and see them. How is it done? I don't know. So if nobody on the planet knows, nobody remembers, nobody passed it down from father to son. We passed down recipes. Franks and beans was being cooked in Samaria. Now the one you got better yet, my favorite, Budweiser was being drunk in Egypt. Now this is on record that they were drinking beer in Egypt. Now they passed that down 10,000 years. They passed down amen. The yarmulke and the Bible and Quran, 1,400 years, that we got. So that passed down the traditions, the laws, the customs, how to pray, how to cut your pecker, called circumcision, what to eat, what not to eat, how to cook it. All those details have been passed down during the period of time from what you call the beginning of the world under your Bible doctrine. Correct? So that was the beginning of the world, and the pyramids and those things that we can't figure out had to have been made after Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So the pyramids and all those things had to be after that. We got a record of God creating the heavens and the earth, earth being born in darkness, and spirit deep, and how God did it, and what he did on each day, and how he saw that it was good, and all that is flowing. Then we get down to the pyramids, and we go, I don't know. Maybe the pyramids and the Sphinx and many other things on the planet are our knows because they belong in with those beings who are coming here doing things that we don't know about. We haven't got there yet. Are they from the future? Perhaps. Are they from other dimensions? Perhaps. Are they from around the corner? Perhaps. But I mean, is there a secret intelligence in our government that's a lot smarter than they tell us, and they're doing all that? Well, I tend to believe, and I use that word very loosely, I tend to believe that anytime I see a flying saucer, it came from Earth. That's what I believe. Now, that's because of the term flying saucer. You understand? Topic Tahir, they say. Flying saucer. You know why? Y'all tell me, I tell you all the time. Because it's aerodynamic. It's shaped in order to move through our atmosphere. So they must have the same environment with air, oxygen, etc. In that case, they ain't going nowhere. But from around the corner. That's all. What's the sense of coming here, everything here? Hey, I saw them. They look just like us. They may be just a little taller than Paul. Sammy Davis Jr. or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's two different tallers there. Some of us, I'm short, man, and they're tall, we be taller than them. They might not be tall to Manuo, who's almost 8 feet tall. So where's taller come in? How tall are they? Well, they were, come on, let's get the 9 feet people. Oh yeah, hold on, let's see the hold on to giants. You're right, but then we're going to go right in the Bible. In Genesis chapter 6, it says there were giants in that earth. And what's his name? Goliath was 9 feet tall. Came from a group of people called Philistines, and when they traced that, having 6 fingers and 6 toes. How many people have got 6 fingers and 6 toes now? So now, we have to say about that, where they come from. You follow what I'm trying to say? If everything is locked within, in the beginning, to all the way down to the end of Revelations, and then straight on down to the end of the Quran, and say that that is the doctrine of religion on the planet Earth, not to mention Buddhism, Hinduism, Zennism, and I can go on to many other factions of beliefs. All that is continuous period of time, and all the rules and regulations and laws and commandments and traditions and customs that were passed down, then we get to certain points in that knowledge, and all of a sudden we become totally numb. Why is it that man feels he must understand or understand everything, and anything he doesn't understand or understand, he labels? And that's how you get stuff like UFO. UFO is another way of saying we're so intelligent and we don't want to admit that we don't know what the hell it is, so we just call it a UFO. And when that started clicking in people's minds, they had to change it to UFO. They had to give it a noun, now UFO, because UFO was still letters describing ignorance, so they had to say UFO. UFO organization. You see what this is? What's the point? The point is that that inside human beings, naturally, man is evoluting or metamorphosizing, whatever you want to say. He is growing. He's expanding. And he's becoming more and more aware of the misinformation passed to us through religion. That's all. We're starting to question things that people do not, we talked about this last night, right? People do not want questions. Just leave it alone. Leave us in our blindness. Leave us with our faith. Leave us with our hopes. And we say it's no longer time for that. Because the events that are affecting our lives now cannot be found in the Bible. Global warming is not in the Bible. The ice caps melting, the axis shifting is not in the Bible. Plagues are in the Bible. So we go with the plagues of bees and mosquitoes. AIDS is not in the Bible. The very statement acquired. What are the 3 letters A abbreviated? AIDS. Acquired.
Immune deficiency.
Now what does that mean? What is that? You understand what acquired means, right? What's the next one? What does that mean? You see that? And then what is deficiency? You have, now let's say it the way it should be. But they got the letters backwards. Right? Right. You are deficient in your immune system from something you acquired. That's what it is. But they make it sound like, leprosy. You know what I'm saying? And even that is leper and rose. It has nothing to do with the meaning of the word Hansen's disease, but it's all part of the subliminal trick. It ain't. It's not in the Bible. But it's affecting everybody in every mosque, synagogue, and church. If it ain't immediately at their door, it's in their relatives or one of their brothers or sisters. All of us know somebody that died of AIDS or is dying of AIDS. And God doesn't have a plan for that, according to you religious people. You say, well, see what happened is y'all made a mistake. Y'all are so busy running out, jumping up and down and pouncing on people, religious people, being right. First thing y'all said is, see all them damn homosexuals. That AIDS is here to kill homosexuals. That's what it's there for. God knows what he's doing. We got to get rid of the homosexuals because they gave it to power. Then they found out AIDS was not a homosexual disease. Did they apologize? No. Before it was homosexual, it was Haitian. All right, came from Haiti. AIDS just popped up in Haiti, and everybody in Haiti brought it in. Then he found out that's not true. Or a laboratory with a green monkey in Kenya. They found out that's not true. Then they finally told people AIDS is not actually a disease. There's no such disease. And well, it's a disease in the sense of the word meaning dis-ease, because it does bring miscomforts. But it's not a disease like lepromasy or Hansen's disease or arthritis or tuberculosis. It's not that.
AIDS is a man-made, genetically engineered virus that was either accidentally or deliberately introduced into the world's population. AIDS is not a homosexual disease. AIDS is not a venereal disease. AIDS did not originate from the green monkey. AIDS is not prevented by the use of condoms. And AIDS is not likely to ever be cured by a vaccine.
It's scientific. It's thinking. I want to say it's man-made, but I don't. It's thinking. It configurates. It plans. It plots. It defends itself. You follow what I'm saying? It's smarter than us. It outwits our chromosomes. It outwits our DNAs and our RNAs. It reconfigurates our helix and manufactures destructive or breaks down the immune system to make it deficient so that any attack from the outside makes you vulnerable, a target. How did God let that happen? Come on, Christians, Muslims, Jews. How did God let some virus alter his master plan? I can understand man's stupidity caused him to get hit by a car. You follow? But how do you acquire or give birth to a bacteria that gets inside the human anatomy and alters God's plan? Rearranges the DNAs and RNAs and manufactures defective ones. How do you get a bacteria that intelligent? That's kind of frightening to think about. But see, with everybody that does homosexual things. And it's easy, and they haven't come back yet and apologized to the homosexual community. They are entitled to an apology. I don't care whether we agree or disagree with their sexual habits. If you falsely accuse somebody, and therefore you produce groups called fag bashers, people who are going around punching homosexuals and beating them up, saying they're killing everybody. You brought that on them. The least you could do when you find out you're wrong is publicly announce, we're sorry. We don't agree with your sexual habits, but we're sorry. Because we have people abusing you because of an assumption. That kind of dictates what the kind of minds we live with.